What'd that look like for you? Was that like really intentional, or did you kind of figure it out halfway down the road, or 6 months in, or 4 years in? What'd that look like for you?
It was very intentional up front. I knew that when I created the concept of Up in a Day, that I wanted to eventually franchise it or sell it.
Hmm.
And so for me, I knew that I could not be the face of the brand because all of a sudden I would be the asset. And that does not look good for any type of investing company or merger and acquisition, which we'd be open to as well. Um, so so it was very strategic when I started, when I was launching Up in a Day, and it was very customer centric. And so I started the business model based on what the needs were in the market. And I knew that having me front and center had nothing to do with the solution that we provided.
Welcome to Sharpen the Spear podcast, where we help manufacturing executives command the front and win the floor. I'm Richard Walsh, creator of the Sharpened Impact methodology, and I spent decades helping leaders transform frontline teams, unlock hidden profit, and capture capacity they didn't even know they had. If you want to see where your leadership gaps are costing you and how to fix them, head over to grittolead.com and run the free Sharpened Impact Simulator today. Let's sharpen your edge and get started. And we are back on STS Sharpen the Spear podcast, not just with another incredible guest, not with the part two of another incredible guest, but the three-peat is happening today. This is Lindy Nowak. She's with us. Yes, such an incredible guest. This is her third time being on. She's the first one ever in all my podcast histories to be able to come on 3 times. So, Lindy, give us a quick backstory. We're going to get into the new stuff, which is going to be awesome. But let's bring everyone up to speed really quick, and then let's tear into it.
All right, sounds good. Great to be here again, Richard. Thank you so much for having me back. I love being on your show. A little bit of background on me. My name is Lindy Nowak. I am the founder of a company called Up in a Day. And what we do is we help small to medium sized, even now large businesses get up and running with really powerful professional websites in front of the right audience on time without the headaches. Up in a day, obviously. Sometimes, yes, we do have to build a website in a day. Other times, we are building anywhere from 2 to 3 weeks out. So, I built the company from the ground up. I started 6 years ago as an answer to a massive problem that I saw in the web space. I am one of a billion web agencies out there, but what was missing is real powerful, easy, breezy, strategic method to get a website up and running for a small, medium-sized business without having to wait weeks and months, and also being able to get into your website and make the smallest edit on your own. So I developed the company strategically, internally and externally, that makes it super easy to get up and running quickly for any business owner out there. We work across multiple industries. So we started off in health and wellness. We moved into coaching, consulting, and now today we are still servicing those industries, and we've just expanded into construction, machinery, roofing, contracting and energy, which we were just discussing.
Yes.
So that's my company. My just a quick 30-second, not even background on me. I come from the corporate world in New York City. I was a creative director at L'Oreal. I moved into publishing later in my career in the sales and marketing side. I was at Entertainment Weekly, Bon Appetit magazine, and my last corporate stint was at Women's Health magazine. And then, of course, fast forward, I now live in Miami and I have Up in a Day, and we are just continually expanding.
It's awesome. You're going to have a lot more New Yorkers heading down to Miami with the
Every
recent
day.
mayoral change. Okay.
That's
There won't be exiting. So
right. I
you'll,
hear this a lot. Yes.
you'll have some new locals. Okay, that'll be awesome. But that's fantastic. Thanks for the update. Really cool. So yeah, here's our jump off point, everybody. Thing she didn't say she's getting into the sector is manufacturing, right? Can we unveil that? It's too late if we can't.
Sure.
But I just
Not too late.
but
Let's go.
I'm also in the manufacturing industry. That's my new focus as well. So had no idea you were going that way. So this is really cool to find out. But in the energy sector. So we're going to kind of talk about this pivot. Let's talk about this pivot inside your business. I want to hit a couple different points. I'll kind of bring this along, Lindy. Before we came on the air, we also talked about another thing that I want to hit first, and that is I'm going to call it owner brand. Okay. So when you're the face of the business, when you're the personality, when you're everything, you're the one people know is up in the day or whatever your business is, whatever someone else is. Like there's good and bad to that. Okay. There's some pluses and there's a lot more minuses to that. So we're going to touch on that a little bit. Why I want to ask you this, because you knew this from the beginning. I've done this. Okay. I didn't for 20 years. My first 20 years, it was all about me, because I'm the artist and everything else. But now it's not about me. Okay. I told you, I told my son, I said, listen, if I check out tomorrow, you can pick this up and run. You don't have to figure anything out. I built it so it doesn't need me. Okay. So let's go to your side, because I know you've kind of had that same approach. So 6 years ago, you're starting up in a day. What'd that look like for you? Was that like really intentional, or did you kind of figure it out halfway down the road, or 6 months in, or 4 years in? What'd that look like for you?
It was very intentional upfront. I knew that when I created the concept of Up in a Day, that I wanted to eventually franchise it or sell it.
Mm.
And so for me, I knew that I could not be the face of the brand, because all of a sudden I would be the asset. And that does not look good for any type of investing company, or merger and acquisition, which we'd be open to as well. Um, so so it was very strategic when when I was launching Up in a Day, and it was very customer centric. And so I started the business model based on what the needs were in the market. And I knew that having me front and center had nothing to do with the solution that we provided. And that was really helpful when we were discussing and planning out how to go to market, because that dictated basically the marketing budget it behind creating the brand and all of the brand elements, the messaging, the tone, where we were going, who we were targeting to start. And so I took a step back, and it was actually really hard because a lot of the feedback I got inside my network, friends, family, former colleagues, was like, Lindy, you
which
got
which
this.
is the worst network
Yeah,
for
exactly.
those
Because
kind
they
of
were,
decisions.
yeah, they were like, they all came to me saying in different ways, Lindy, how come
Right.
you're not putting your face up in the brand? How come you're not on your website? How come you're not in your marketing materials? It's you. You come with this amazing background. And I said, I'm creating a productized service. It has nothing to do with me. It has everything to do with the solution that we provide and to grow and scale this business. And I don't want to have to be tied to that brand. And you had mentioned during that same discussion earlier that it eventually devalues the brand.
Right. Right. Yes. It's really important. So because it's you, like if you check out, and I mean check out, like you die. Okay.
Right.
Like
That's the devalue.
no one really plans that. It just kind of happens, but there's a big devalue. There's a rapid decline. That's like doors go shut, because there's a dependency, not just from a marketing standpoint, but usually in that case, that owner, that operator is also the operator, and they really have their hands in it and stuff like that. So there's all this, it really gets messy. So here's a question kind of tied into that. Was it strictly like I'm just being a super business professional and I'm really weighing all this stuff out and I got my whiteboard and I'm doing ROI and why I could but I can't and did you like really take that approach or just go listen, I don't want my face on this. It's too much. It's too much for me. It's too much work. I got to look great all the time. Okay, and not that you don't, but I'm just saying like
Yeah.
it's always image. It's like being a supermodel. Like you can't go out unless you're all dialed up and ready to go, right? I mean, you literally can't go get the mail, okay? Because someone's gonna snap a shot when you look terrible, and there goes your career. I don't know. I'm reaching maybe, but
Yeah.
I mean, but where did the consciousness come into play from there? You
Well,
know,
it was the former, so, or sorry, the latter, I should say. And I'll be a little vulnerable here. It's also a little bit of imposter syndrome as well. I didn't know if the brand would take off, and I didn't know if I was the right person to do that. I wanted to build a team, and I wanted the team to be very part of the growth of Up in a Day, and it really was like a split decision. I knew when I created Up in a Day that it's just not in my personality to be the brand for this type of product or service. And it was that, and also knowing what the product was and who we were servicing, that I
Mhm.
don't think my face, people would care. What they do care about is that somebody's behind the website. And so eventually, after year three, I believe, I started noticing that cold and even warmer leads were skeptical. This is when AI was kind of coming out and about, and they started getting skeptical of the business. How are you able to turn it around so quickly?
Okay,
Where's my website being built? Who's building my website? Are you located yeah,
India.
in Eastern countries? Yeah. Are you located in Eastern Europe? Where are you? Are you US based? Do you understand my specialty? Do you understand my brand? Do you understand my industry? Who are you guys?
My
And
language.
yeah, therefore I had to answer to that and I had started having to put some real people behind the brand. So I remember we did a team shot. So we put that on our site. And then eventually people came and went. So we took that off. And then I went for it and I recorded a couple videos of myself talking to our ideal client. One is on our homepage, and then the other one is on the booking page. So it's literally like no BS. When you get to our site and you want to book a consult with us, which is our call to action, is how we get people in the door for the sales. I have a video saying, "Hey, I'm Lindy Nowak. I'm the founder of Up in a Day. So glad you're here. Listen, this is what we do, the elevator pitch. This is who we do it for and why, and this is how you get it." So that helps with conversion rates. And I still take a step back. I'm not in the forefront of the brand, but I do think it was important for us to start converting website visitors
Right,
properly, the right website visitors that can actually, afford our service at the price
right.
point, by placing a video of me up there, just having a friendly chat with them.
So this is important. Okay, here's the distinction. That's not face of the brand.
Right.
Okay, that's called owner, operator, CEO, whatever you want. Like that's instructional. That's I'm here. This is what we do. Come in, the team will take care of you. Like that's not even marketing. That's instructional.
Right.
Okay, it's totally different,
Yeah.
but there's the connection. Okay, so I still think in a sense, like whether it's your team or someone, you have to have people. You have to connect to people. You're all tech business, but it's people. People want to work with people. Okay, and you're seeing that more and more and more now with everything every response is AI. Now I can smell it a mile away. I see stuff now. I use AI. Okay, like and it'll
Mhm.
help me craft cool stuff, but then I take it apart. I change the writing. I change long dashes. I do all the stuff I have no ability to do on my keyboard. Okay, how am I going to write like that? I can't write like that. They know it's not. You know what I mean? So little things like that. But then I change it and I mix it, and then I'm like, okay, I get the gist of it. It's fast. It's done. It's way easier to edit than create. Just saying. Okay. If it can create something good, then go and add a little bit. You just knocked off like 2 hours. Okay. On a three email sequence. At least I would, you know. So, but you still need that human connection. I do real selective reach outs on things and stuff like that, whether it's LinkedIn or whatever. And I am me and I'm not pitching ever. I mean, that LinkedIn alone drives me insane because it's all automated. Okay. I mean, I'm using it. I like it. I get it. But you make a connection with someone, it's an instant pitch.
Hmm.
I mean, they're pitching you. It's like, who would do that? Like, who would come up to you and I just met you, Lindy. We've known each other for 8 seconds, and I'm telling you about all I do, and you're interested in doing a call? You know what I mean? You want to go on a date?
Right.
Like I just
Yeah,
bumped into
exactly.
you. Hey, follow me. We're going to lunch. You know what I mean? Like what? I mean, it's that stupid,
Oh,
right?
I actually got an email this morning, a spam email saying, "Hey, Lindy, want to do lunch?" Yeah, sign me up. Let's go. I'm sure you're great. Let's be
What have
friends.
you been doing lately? I get these texts. Like, what? I just delete them. Like, what do you mean? What do you mean? What am I? Who are you? I don't know you. Like, it's just it. But emails are even worse. That's why you think
Yeah.
the you're seeing a shift too. And I've definitely shifted from cold emails. Like, I'm done. I don't spend a cent on them. I don't entertain them. I don't talk to them. I unsubscribe. I do all the things. If you're bitching at somebody, just get rid of you. Just leave my life. Okay. Don't waste. Cold emails are so bad, even your pitches I don't want to hear. Not you, but you know what I mean? Like the people who own the company. I'm just like, don't bother me because it's difficult. Now there's a place for things, existing customers and autoresponders and nurture campaigns. Like, don't get me wrong. It's not like you don't do that. I was with a client the other day and he's got 7,000 customers and has 90,000 interested customers who have been to the site, done all this stuff, 90,000 that they don't do anything with. I'm like, that's a lot of money sitting there waiting to, they're giving it to someone else instead of you. And he knows that.
Mhm.
It's not like he's like, so now they've done it. They had to build the whole machine and kind of have the whole
Good.
thing start bringing them into a new lines they're bringing out and everything else, right? They're manufacturing, but sometimes it's like I've seen it with companies. I had a simple little brush coloring company. They had 10,000 people that's like 40 years on their email list that they never talked to.
Wow.
And I'm like, and they, oh, we're going to send too many emails and people aren't going to like that. I go, let's send one email.
One.
Let me craft this. It'll be like a paragraph. Okay. Sent it. 3 days later, 10 grand. They made $10,000. They sent one more.
Exactly.
Julie, I go, okay, how we doing? You think maybe two
Exactly.
a month would be a good idea? Like, I mean, I should like beat them up every day, send two a day. I'm like, dude, they're your customers. They already spent money with you. 100%, unless you were just absolutely the worst, they're going to spend money with you again. But you're not letting them.
You're not letting them. You're not reminding them that you're there. I'm so glad you segued into this, by the way. I just wrote an entire guide specifically, it's on our ebook page on our website, specifically about what to do with the 90,000 website visitors that come to your site that are just sitting there.
Yep.
Yes,
Like
and
what?
it's all
Like
about how to capture them without being overly salesy. But like you don't know what you don't know as a business owner. And sometimes we get in our own way, and then we
Yep.
get
That's right.
blocked and we
Yep.
don't know where to go. And all of a sudden we're frustrated and we're sitting there and 3 months later we have another 90,000 hits to our website. Well, what do we do with those? And so the guide is like basically focused on the newsletter. We also offer marketing services, newsletter being
Right.
number one, because personally, I love newsletters. I think, just like you said, they work. If you do it right and you don't annoy people, even if people don't open up your newsletter, you're there, but
Right.
providing value to them, to knowing who your subscribers are and not being super salesy or annoying or pitchy, but just giving them some kind of value in content really does work. I mean, it's not just getting the sale, but it's getting other sales. It's asking
Yeah.
for, it's getting the referrals. It's getting, oh yeah, you know who, I don't need their service right now, but I know somebody who does.
Yeah. And here's the thing. So, and I could be totally wrong on this. I'm just making a guess. So you got metrics, right? You got open rates, you got all this kind of stuff, unsubscribes and everything else.
Mhm.
Is there an actual rate? Because I do not know this, but I'm thinking with what we're talking about right here and coldness and everything else, I think, I think I'm just making my own guess that one of my metrics would be who doesn't unsubscribe. Like they've been getting the newsletter for a year and a half. They've never unsubscribed. They've also never opened it. Okay. And I'm not, and I, okay, it can go 75 different ways, right? It can go in the spam folders. It can go, they could just not care and they delete it. I delete stuff that I don't unsubscribe all the time because there's going to be that time. Okay. And I'm reminded of them every time I see them. Okay. And it's like, oh, yeah, them. Okay. Yep. Yep. When I'm ready, but so I'm telling you, I think the unsubscribe, the not unsubscribed should be in an analytic. I'm saying I don't know how to quantify it, but I bet you could if you spend time thinking about it. Like, what does
Hmm.
it actually mean? And I don't know how you'd find out when they actually click and they buy that one thing. And
Yeah.
now that year and a half, now just whatever. I don't know. I
You can. There are a lot of CRM programs that will show you who clicked on what and where
right.
and when and who didn't, who opened it and didn't do anything. Um, I do wish there maybe this does exist, but you know, Crazy Egg and Hotjar, right? I think we
Mhm.
talked about this in our
Mhm.
last conversation. Wouldn't that be nice if we could do a Crazy Egg or Hotjar application for CRM programs? Does this exist? It should. Maybe that's the next company I
Yeah.
start. I don't know,
Yeah.
but wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah. I think data is amazing. Okay.
Yes.
My new business is, I mentioned 85% tech, 85% data, all this stuff. It's a huge thing, but it's critical that data helps us make decisions. I know I'm being Captain Obvious here, but that's what we use it for. We
Yeah.
predict things, we forecast. Okay, we can be way more proactive in our business. We can see decline way sooner if we're tracking the right things. Okay. Now, and I had this recent experience too, like, oh, no, we got all these numbers, and I happen to know that particular floor. And I'm like, so you don't track everything. You might have it in the dashboard, you might have it in the system, but I can guarantee I know someone who crumples up that data and throws it in the trash. Okay.
Hmm.
So yeah, you have a spot for downtime, but you aren't recording downtime. And downtime is unbelievably expensive. Like one machine could be $500 a day. It's down for 4 days. Okay.
Hmm.
Every other week.
Hmm.
So like, you're not recording that. You can't fix it because you don't know. It's a cover up kind of. It's tolerance, it's drift, it's all those things on a manufacturing floor that because the standard isn't being held that creates all that, right? But you don't so when someone has a system, that just is like a tally, right? It doesn't, there's a layer below that when things start to drift. So if you look at your company, even, right, you can see numbers and you have analytics and you're like, oh, this, and this. But if you're in around your team, you'll start to see different attitudes, what I call negotiation on the work that needs to be done. They're negotiating with you. They're debating whether it's a must or not. That's all drift. That all contributes to drift, and that gets expensive. It creeps. So before you see it on the board, before you see the dollars, even the P&L, that's already happening.
That's right. Another topic I'm so glad you brought up. For us, 2026, we were talking about how we are pivoting, but part of our pivot was based on looking at the analytics and numbers. And I admit that I was lazy with our books in 2025 because I had a bookkeeper who is not doing a great job. Let's just say that. And that's like being nice. And I'd complain and I'd say stuff, and I'm like, oh, okay, well, this doesn't look right on the P&L and the balance sheet. The balance sheet is what I need. Where's the balance sheet? Okay, I'm looking at the balance sheet. That's not right. All of our contractors are actually in this category, and you have them under a website category, whatever it is. Jan 1. I'll take care of it from here. And I literally had to put hours and hours. And I'm so glad I did because it gives you control and a full understanding of where you are at for the beginning of the year. Even if it's a quarter, you're starting Q3. to sit back and spend the hours and the time as business owners to get our numbers straight and look at the balance sheet, but to actually run the numbers again. Like,
Right.
even if you have a really good bookkeeper, understand how is the bookkeeper running your numbers? Look into the nitty gritty, put it on an Excel doc, whatever you're using, and then you look for yourself and you make the decision, does this look right to me? And then you bring it into your analytics. Okay, now that I have a full understanding of where the revenue's coming in, where are we losing? Now we start to look at your talent. Where is the talent not spending the right time? Or
Right.
not spending any time or spending too much time. And then let's look at the numbers. Let's look at the websites, the marketing. Where are we allocating our budget? And it's like you said, it's the machine on the floor that's been sitting there for
Right.
4 days. What is the real cost of that? And it gets really intricate and it adds up really fast.
Yeah, and it doesn't correct itself. It just keeps going, and again, people get to the point where it's finally on the books and they see it. It's way down the road. So we've discovered it, in certain situations in a lot of these manufacturing companies, it's millions of dollars. Millions. Okay. And they have top automation and all that stuff. Okay. But you've got to understand where the missing layer here. Human capital is a big deal. Okay. You might have had, we were talking about this before too. You might have used to have 28 people on the line. Now you got four because you got automation. You still have four. Okay. Those four is going to create drift. Okay. That's what it is. And you think you got it all covered. And to your point, you as an owner, and this goes for any owner, you have an intuition. You can say that doesn't look right. Okay. You can't say why, but your gut knows because this, and I'm like that too. I was like, no, nope, this is not right. Just, I don't know what it is, but we got to find out. And we're going to stop now and we're going to figure out what's wrong because something ain't right with this. And then you're right. You have to uncover it. Then and no one else is going to be able to do that. So here's the problem. What do you do? Again, this is kind of like you being the face of the brand. If you're the one who's got to always figure this out, that's a problem. Right? Now you've put yourself in a hostage situation. Your business drift and all that only gets corrected because you have intuition. You know it so well. Well, again, what happens when you are not there? You leave, you start another business. Okay. No one's ever going to see that.
That's right.
So,
It,
what's the
it's
solution?
what is a solution? Maybe finding your number two and training them and putting the costs behind ensuring that you can never insure with people, but personally I see because I have some other companies that I want to start very soon. But before I do, I have to get up in a day under control, which we are now. But again, now I have to spend how many hours a month, a week and a month on what I just spoke about. You're right. All of a sudden it's all on me. So what do you do? Do you find I'm posing the question. Do you find a consultant like yourself? Richard, do you find a bookkeeper? Do you find a CFO?
So,
Fractional.
yeah, it's really interesting. So here's and you just mentioned the number of points here. A business is intricate. You don't think it is. It's not one thing. There's sections in the business. Okay. So like what I specialize in now is the manufacturing floor. So there's a floor. Okay. There's mid management. There's C-suite. Okay. Sales. And there's these different sections, right? So what I found in these situations, I'm just gonna give you my personal experience here and what we're doing is the biggest drains on profit is the floor, it's production. That's where you get the most drift, the most entropy, right? All this because again, it's people, they're doing it right, they negotiate, they don't want to do this, they don't, the company has standards, but they have no enforcement. Okay. Because every company we talk to, oh, we have standards, we got SOPs, we got this and this. And I go, yeah, it's over there in the system. It's in their system. I go, the system can't enforce. This is where it falls down. There's no enforcement mechanism. There's no enforcement infrastructure in the company. Think about that. Think about enforcement. How do you make sure, how do you enforce the bookkeeper is doing it correctly? What's the mechanism? What is that? That's what we have to think about, right? How do we do that? Now we do it by what we call installing command. Okay. So we have people who it's a vocabulary, it's a process, and it gets done whether the supervisor or what we call the commander is there or not. That's how you build it. Because it's always a question you ask when we just did it with you. Well, what happens when you're not there? Lindy goes away for 3 weeks on a nice vacation. She's well earned. What happens? What happens at home? I do this with contractors all the time. Do you come back to ashes because they burned the place down 3 weeks? They haven't answered the phone, nothing there. You got, or does it come back and they're making more money? They figured out even better things. Which direction does it go when you exit for a short period of time? What does that pressure test look like? Right. So that's what we have to start thinking about. How do we address that when you want to be more the absentee owner? Still own the company. We'll call it founder position, right? I'm a founder. Yeah. You started it. You thought it. You're CEO now. You got the CEO. You're running that, but now you're going founder, and then you're like absentee founder. You're coming in quarterly and talking to people, making sure. I think we got all the right people in place, right? Does that make sense?
Oh, it completely makes sense. Every now and again, I'm just trying, I'm thinking about what we do here at Up in a Day with our sales group and our department and marketing and even our web designers. When you were talking about the people on the floor, those are our web designers, and yeah, it happens. I think that having I'm front and center. Oh my gosh, but people who believe in the brand. You want to hire, and this is different, obviously, in manufacturing when they're day to day. I'm speaking specifically to Up in a Day, but they believe in the brand. They're paid properly. They feel heard. They feel like they're taken care of. And so they come to work every day ready to go. Maybe they're not every day they're in a great mood, but we're all working towards a larger goal. Well, what is that goal? Well, being very transparent with where we need to be revenue wise. How do we get there? What are incentives that I can give my team in order to get us there? What are the what are the measurements that they can track on their own that when I'm in Hawaii, don't have to look inside a sauna and look at everybody's day report? Like can they feel like they're being accountable to themselves? And so I think keeping the morale up, which I know can be hard, keeping them happy, keeping, just like that positive approach, which can be hard, obviously, within the company helps. It certainly helps. But as you grow, how do you bring in more people to manage? And I think what you were saying, what'd you call them? The managers are the
commanders.
Commanders. I love that.
We forge commanders and we install command. Okay. We install infrastructure. It's command infrastructure. Now, what you're talking about, I can nail down to 3 things. Okay. It's purpose, recognition, and competency or quality pay. Okay. So purpose, they have to have a purpose. If they don't understand the purpose of whatever aspect in their company they're doing, they're going to drift because they don't know why they're there. No one wants to work without purpose. They'll job hop until someone tells them, hey, I actually have a purpose. The recognition is not a lot. Pat on the back here, public recognition, private, bonus structure, whatever that is, right? They want to know. They also want to know if they're doing a bad job. They actually want to know. And if you correct them, they get back on track. That's a beautiful thing. Quality pay sounds obvious, but yeah, they want to be paid well. But it's third on the list. Okay, purpose is number 1, recognition number 2, quality pay. Because if it was always about money, they go down the road for $1 an hour. Okay, and they just leave. They don't care because it's just money. So there'd be no loyalty at all. But until you get those first 2, if you don't get the purpose, you don't get the recognition as a built-in process of an operational system, a mechanism in your company, no one's going to stay. They're going to drift out. They're going to not understand what they're there for. What does success look like on the day, the week, the month, the quarter, the year? People need to know how to win. Show me someone that doesn't want to win. They really prefer to be a loser every day. They're probably out there, but they probably live under a bridge. I don't know. But I'm just saying, like, I know it's going to work when they want to win. Okay. They want to win. So, and what do we as owners want to be around? Winners. Okay. Where that's all we want. We want people who are achieving, right? So I think we have to understand those three things for one. Now, to go back like to the floor, here's the thing with it, because you'll hear leadership training, you'll have all this stuff, right? They'll do all that, but it never sticks.
Right.
Cool seminar Thursday and Friday. That was awesome. All mowed up. Next Thursday, they're back to the regular thing, right? It's the same old thing. Why? Because it's not identity. A commander has identity. When you install command, you have identity. They all speak a language. Okay, we have certain terms and everything else we use. We literally teach it's 14 words or less in a command. If you're 15 words, you have failed. Okay, like it's legit. Like, and this is nationwide. Okay, and everyone. So you create this infrastructure. Like they put sewers in. Well, they put sewers in the same way, right? I mean, you don't have like 75 different sewer configurations. Okay, materials and everything else. Use the same stuff because it works, right? It's infrastructure. That's how we build it. So, same principle. If you don't have identity, like command identity, it's a thing. That's what holds, because that then goes down. Okay. Think of the military. Okay. If I'm a sergeant, I'm an E5 sergeant. I'm in North Dakota. Okay, great. And then I get sent to a base. I go to Camp Pendleton. I'm in the Marine Corps. I go to Camp Pendleton in California. I'm still a sergeant. I still do sergeant things. I'm not going to be retaught how to be a sergeant. Okay, I'm an NCO. I know what my duty is. Yeah, it's just different people and everything else. But when I say this, they do that. Okay. No one's going to stay a private for 20 years in. Okay. They won't let them. They'll get rid of them. But I'm just saying, by then you're picking up that rank, right? And you understand where they're at. So kind of a long way around saying, see, it's identity. It's who you are. And there's a consistency in the positions that they have that instill a culture, right? It's cultural. That's what it is.
It is. You remind me of a couple corporations that I worked at in New York City, where I walked in and I watched people come and go all the time because they weren't given purpose or identity. And it was hard to keep the morale up when you have people coming and going all the time. And then eventually you leave too, because you get into politics and hierarchies, et cetera. But so that was frustrating, and I learned a lot from that. Though there's so much in working in corporate that I took with me to establish up to date with, but there's a lot that I learned that I said I'm going to do the opposite.
Good.
I am not going to spend my time and energy hiring and letting go of people. I want my people to come in and stick.
You know what kills me about that though, Lindy? When you think about it, you know what it costs for every new hire? It's tens of thousands of dollars, and they just treat them like I don't know what. Okay, they're in and out. It's an endless revolving door, and I'm like, the money. How are you running a business like this? I don't care how big you are or how small you are. That should matter. Retention is a big thing. So what we created is, I think it's called the Shire. It's the Sharpen Impact Retention Engine. Okay, we got a lot of acronyms because you kind of get where I'm going with all my stuff, but you actually get to that position as you reach your commander ranks, if you will, in your time in, that you're a part of this institution. But the retention engine is what we're doing. Not only do we have the identity and we install the command, right, and the infrastructure, they don't leave because they have a position, they have command, everything is good. They correct drift early and they record all that stuff. Like they have purpose. And they're recovering millions of dollars. The C-suite's going, this is and they get coins. We have challenge coins and stuff you get at these different levels. And their first million, they get a coin, they get a ceremony. The C-suite, when they hit 5 million, they get another coin, and they're really cool. In Boston, like 3 inches and stuff. You hit 10 million, you get that. 15 million, you get that. And they're like, this is all. And like, everybody's winning. Okay. Everybody understands the goal. Everyone knows how to do it, but now there's infrastructure to make it happen on a consistent basis. It's
I love
amazing.
that.
Yeah,
I love that. It's recognition.
it is. It's it. We
I
have
mean,
lapel pins. So they have a 3/4 inch lapel pin with a magnet back, and they walk. It's kind of like rank. You know what I mean? You see, they go, man, he's a commander. Yeah, that guy's in charge. Okay. He's just like, that's the dude. Leads, you don't get that. You don't have any authority. You just pass on information. But these guys are the authority guys, right? And when you see those things changing, because they get them after their 90 days to get their first one, then it's 3 year, 5 year, 10 year, 15, and 20 year. All these are designed, built out. So when you see that thing changing, those guys got time in. It's like when you see a sergeant major in the Marine Corps or whatever. It's like, ooh, respect. That's
mhm.
25 years of work. It's like that's a rank that you're at the top. You know what I mean? So it gives them that purpose also, that authority they have. And like I said, they can start to train apprentices. They do that inside, then we do the governance aspect and the award, the certification. But see how that starts to operate, and that creates a culture, and it's not based on one personality, because a lot of our businesses are personality driven, right? When this guy's on, man, things get done. When he's not on, nothing gets done, right?
Of course. Have you ever worked for a company where somebody comes and trains you? You're like, yeah, uh-huh. And who are you? Yeah, right,
Yeah.
whatever. I love this. It's like a military model that you've developed
Yeah.
because there's respect there. There's like, okay, this person has obviously gone through the ranks and done everything that they need to do. And there's like that level of respect that comes innately. It's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah. And you could pull things from it, but I'm not saying it works in every business, every section of the business. But you have places that are conducive to this kind of infrastructure, right? This implementation of what they do, because they're producing a similar thing. I mean, they're producing a product, or whatever that looks like. They have to do this, right? There's steps, there's quality, there's all that, right? Control the quality, CTQs. You got to do all that kind of stuff. A lot of things they understand. And again, I'm saying this, we're able to now predict this drift before it shows up in dashboards and stuff like that, and when everyone I talk to, any operations guy in this, they know this. When I ask them, well, when does it really start? They can't, they know it, but they don't know it. They can't define it, but like they can see it. And when I tell them, like, yeah, you're right, but they don't have a correction method. They don't know how to fix it at that early stage. That's the problem. But when the red light's beeping, showing there's this, okay, now we got to, find out what was wrong. You did this, and it's all backtracking now, right?
Mhm.
So if drift just begins and you can correct it, you're always on point, and that's where you start to gather that additional profit.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. And I'm thinking myself as a business owner, you and I are talking about what I love about this conversation is we're talking about the issues that arise, which are
Right.
obvious, but
Mhm.
we're also talking about the real technical ways that how to approach it and how to fix it. And one of the terms I'm thinking of off the top of my head is it just takes doing because it's easy. Okay, yeah, well, I'll handle it tomorrow. Okay, yeah, we'll handle it tomorrow. And we have this huge like
That's
to-do
drift.
list.
That's
Yes, and then
drift, right?
you are
It's
drifting
it's
as the
tolerance.
business owner.
It's tolerance, negotiation, and debate.
You just like have to shut off and focus on that one thing and get it done. And it's amazing. It's miraculous what comes out of that because all of a sudden you're empowered to want your team and your business to be better. It's really
Well, it's
amazing.
like I say, okay, tomorrow morning's Thursday at 0600. I need the line fired up. Oh man, it's going to be hard at 0600. That's the response. That's the commander's response. 0600. And you just be quiet and you look at them. And you know what they do? Okay. And they and they go, tomorrow 0600 lines fired up. And they're doing it. I'm like, it's kind of magic. No one's ever tried it unless you've been in the military.
It's amazing when you just say one thing and
And be
stop.
quiet.
Yes, be quiet.
That's one of the first things we teach, when we're like working with guys, is silence is power. Silence is power. Like I can be a little intimidating, just my size and my bald head and everything else. And when I'm not saying something, but I'm looking at you the right way, there's power in that. Okay. You're going to go, okay. And you're just going to back up slowly.
Yeah,
Bad
that's
things are about to happen.
it's also a wonderful tactic for sales too, a sales call.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Go
This is
for
the
it.
old saying, the first one to talk loses. You know what I mean? It's like that's this was that. When you ask for the sale, you just be quiet. And the first one to say something better be your potential customer. Okay. Because they're going to say and whatever, and then you're just going to address that. Yeah. So you're right. But it is a technique, right? It's one of those techniques you learn. And once it's established, it's like all of a sudden that gets accepted very, very quickly. Okay. I was talking with a gentleman this morning. He's in the army. Great dude, super leader, man. He's going to be working for me. I'm gonna start him part time, and then he's gonna be retiring soon. I'm like, yeah. So, but I was saying, I go, dude, I just tell him, I go, it's yellow footprints. You know what the yellow footprints are? When you get to, well, at least Marine Corps, when you get to basic, you get off that bus, you grab your sea bag, and there's all these yellow footprints at a 45-degree angle. You stand on them and let hell begin. Okay, so you got 150 guys stand on these yellow footprints and stand. Then it begins. The screaming, the you take each piece out, you hold it up, they do all that, then you go and get your head shaved, then you go in there and you got 2 days straight of just never sleeping and going through. You think you've been over 100 miles and you've been in one building, but it seems like you've traveled across the whole base. Anyways, cool experience. If you haven't done it, well, you're not gonna. But it's that point, right? It's that like that's how we establish it, right? It's silence. When we begin the first course in our 90-day sprint when we're installing command, it begins with silence. The facilitator is just looking. And we're on Zoom, right? So you got all these people on Zoom in a room and he's not saying a thing. And it's just quiet. Pretty soon the room gets really, really quiet. Everyone's talking, all of a sudden I'm just, and then we begin. And we tell them what's going to happen. This is what it is. It's the yellow footprints. It's like you're going to do this. You're not going to talk like this. You're not going to do this. We teach exactly what we do. So you're going to learn. I don't want long answers. I don't want this. We really set a precedent out of the gate, and then they're constantly corrected. Here's a cool little thing we do too. Just giving you a thing for when people are building systems. If someone is 10 minutes late to the Zoom call, we do a 2-hour virtual training. They get an email. You know what the email says? This is not punitive. It's just recognition that you were 10 minutes late to the course, and this will be in your permanent record. And it's just it goes in the system, like, because every week you have to earn. You don't graduate by attendance. You earn it every week. You have homework on the floor. You have to upload it. You have to participate in the class. No stone is left unturned. No one gets to hide in the back. It's super intense. It's really cool. And they go do this stuff on the floor. It's like I said, we're installing infrastructure, right? We're creating an identity in these people, and that's why it sticks. Seminars not going to do it, right? So I think it's fun.
I think it's fun too. It's really interesting you bring that up. And I want to piggyback on that and kind of change the subject away from up in a day and to let you know there's something that you don't know about me, Richard,
Here
which
we
is
go.
I have my six-pack captain's license. And after I left L'Oreal, I decided to take a hiatus from New York and the crazy hustle and bustle. This was when I was 30 years old. And it was also 2008. Okay, now everybody knows my age. Um, so I decided to move to Brazil with my hard-earned savings and a backpack. But before I left, I decided I was going to move to Key West to spend some time with my sister and brother who are living there. And my sister's boyfriend at the time was running a fleet of 60-foot catamarans. And these catamarans would take cruise shippers out to 7 miles out into the ocean and drop them off in the middle of a coral reef system. And they would do 3 trips a day. And I walk in my first day as a mate. These boats, by the way, would take 120 people per trip. And I walked in at 9:05 when everybody was supposed to be there at 9 o'clock. And the captain screamed from the helm and said, in front of 5 other crew members whom I didn't even know yet, and said, if you are ever ever late again, you will never be on this boat or any boats. And he screamed it. And I was like, and I didn't know. And then I spent the next 3 weeks coming home crying because my feet hurt so bad. Lo and behold, I became one of the top crew members, got my captain's license, and started driving those boats. And I still have my captain's license. And long story short, what I learned from working on those boats and all the hours and being so responsible, being a bartender, a lifeguard, basically an EMT for these people, 120 people off a cruise ship, you can imagine what you get 3 times a day. I just, the discipline that you learn and the hardships, and you're in the heat and you're in the sun and you are responsible for 120 lives. It's incredible what I took from that, from a like literally a military standpoint. The captains were so intense and I learned so much, and it was just a beautiful time in my life. And I talk about, oh yeah, I bring my corporate experience to up in today, but it's not that. It was really from working on those boats. Oh, you're muted.
Is that better?
Okay, there you are.
Weird. It did it all by itself. Good. See, I'm not a perfectionist. Things go wrong, but I fixed it. That's good. Luckily, you were talking enough while I was trying to work on it. I'm like, this thing is telling me it doesn't work. So I'm like, giving it a keep going. Okay. No, I think that's awesome. And I'm with you. I totally concur that captaining, captaining, I think I just made that up. But being a captain of a ship like that, I mean, it's a catamaran. You get 120, that's high responsibility. I mean, yeah, you could ruin 120 lives.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, that's wild. That's really cool. But I knew there was something about you that wasn't just L'Oreal and Bon Appetit. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm okay. And it took 3 episodes to get it out, but this is good. This is good. We're making real progress now. Very cool. So here's the thing with that, like, to your whole point, like, do you understand the level of respect for that? Like, you do, right? You respect those captains. You're one. People now who in the know, those in the know will know that you have a level of respect in business, not because you're graded up in a day. It's who you are,
Hmm.
identity. See the difference? And that hardening from that captain experience never leaves you. People are gonna like, I'm like, well, I'm 60. People see me like, dude, Marine. And I'm like, dude, I've been out for like 40 years. Okay, like, what do you, yeah, yes, but but they whatever that is, it's not you in the army, you military. There's like a Marine, I don't know what it is. My son now was in, he gets it, but it's just an odd thing. I mean, I try to stay fit and I to hold myself right and everything else, but it's very interesting, that our experiences, the tried, the most difficult things, anything that involves suffering and
Yeah.
extreme suffering is the best things you can do for your life. Would you agree?
I completely agree. Yeah, I'm thinking about how I run my business now and how I speak to my employees. And I speak to them as a captain. This is actually, I'm just realizing a lot of this now. It wasn't just because I managed a bunch of teams in my past life, but also what I brought from being a captain, because you are responsible for all of these people's lives. You really are. You're responsible for their salaries and their families and their homes, and you want them to succeed and empower them and bring, you want to bring a discipline so that they respect you, but that respect should also come with a little bit of positivity too, because you want them to want to perform.
Right. Yeah. I mean, there's a thing to it, right? But it has to begin with respect. Okay. If they don't respect you, then you're done.
You're done.
And it just and there's a lot to it. Okay. And there's not one way, obviously, but everything else. But something we do as we bring in facilitators, teach. I mean, I do almost 99% military, post military, right? That's who's in my company, right? That's who's delivering this. They're delivering the message, they're delivering all this stuff. So that's who we do. It's who runs the company. Okay. I mean, it's kind of weird, I know, but it's like it's in total alignment. But there's respect to that. But I also require you got to stay fit. You might be out of the Corps now, but you staying fit because they see you. Okay. And then we do on-site ceremonies when they graduate. So we do all virtual training. There's a full, I mean, they're lined up. They're presented with coins. There's a whole way they do it. It's left hand is this. We say this. Their facilitator comes and does it along with me and a cameraman. So we got backdrops. We got all this stuff, right? So they do all that. And it's like, you got to look the part. You can't be a 300-pound land tuna and then show up like you're just some slob. Okay. You just negated all the work. Right. It matters. I'm sorry for the 300-pound land tunas, but I'm just saying, you know, we all got to work, right? We got to be fit. We got to work, and it's identity, and I'm not saying it's your only identity. I'm just saying in this situation, it matters. The way we act, the way we talk, the way we move, that stuff is all intentional, so and again, that's my business, right? So that's how we do that. It's not every business. But I think the degrees of that you can take, like you do from that experience, you have to be able to command people. You're the leader. When you say something, it needs to get done. Like, okay, yes, Lindy, I'll get on that. And then they get on it. Okay, that's the only answer that's viable. You know what I mean? It's just that. Other you think you're gonna have a problem? Well, don't tell me about it. Figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know where people are thinking, well, then you're just a dictator. No, I'm empowering my people because I guess I could empower AI, but I want to empower my people. I want them to stay around. I don't want to have to replace them with technology. I want bigger things from them. I want to draw more out of them. I want them to be challenged, to suffer a little bit so they can appreciate their wins at a greater level. I think that's really important. I think too many, oh man, I'm gonna get in a lot of trouble for this. Okay. This is gonna be so terrible. It's probably good this isn't coming out for a few months, but it's okay. So someone's doing this fundraiser. Okay. And I'm like, oh, it's a fundraiser. And I'm like, well, what's it about? And it's a Boys and Girls Club thing. I'm like, oh, that's cool. I was in a Boys and Girls Club. I used to work, I was on the board, whatever. And I'm like, well, they're raising money to build these. Okay, I'm gonna say it. They got these like quiet rooms, like spaces. So when the kids feel stressed, they can go be in this little space, and then get what their thought. This okay. Not a fan. All you're doing, you're a kid. Okay, you're 6, you're 8, you're 10, you're 12, you're 14. Where are all those little quiet rooms around the world? What happened? All you're doing is training. I'm even having a hard time articulating because I'm so like, I read that. So I'm like, you will never get a penny from me. Okay. I'm like, you're not training them because you're going to put them in a room and let them be with their thoughts and maybe have them do some breathing exercises, maybe, or just go have your little time out in the corner. These kids will never adapt to the world. They'll never be able to take anything. You want to do that? Are you literally going to put them in a room and leave them by themselves? Or are you going to have to work with them while they're in that room? Because if you're going to work with them while they're in a room, work with them in the stinking public. Work with them in the group. Let them walk through that. Let other people see it. Be real world application. Not you get to go separate and do the calm down, be this. Because you're just coming back to chaos. That's all you're going to do. You're going to get tossed right back in chaos and you're going to fail. You're going to wither like grass on a hot day. Whatever, but it's just so that's my little rant. But I look at something like that, see, it's messed up. You're not helping them, you're harming them. And people don't get that because you know why? They haven't suffered enough in their life. They haven't understand the value of suffering, overcoming challenges, working through things. And need I not say getting punched in the face? Okay.
Hmm.
It's good for people. Okay.
Yeah.
It's good for you. I,
It's,
yeah. So, yeah. So I just think stuff like that, that's where leadership is going wrong. Okay. So, yeah. So everyone's going to hate me. I don't hate children. I have six. Okay. I don't hate them. I love them. I trained them all up, homeschooled them, did the whole thing. I was around a lot. So it's not like I'm Mr. Never Around Dad. This dad was around. Okay. And yeah, they're leaders, real leaders. They can
I
handle
love
stuff,
that.
so it's just, I don't know. What's your thoughts? I'm going to make you share. I got to pull you
Oh.
into this vortex.
Well, I don't have children of my own, but
I
my
know.
sister
I
has
know.
three under seven, and they are not put when they're in chaos. I do agree with you. Like if they get put in a tight small room to be quiet, they're going to get back into chaos. They're just getting put back into the same situation.
Right.
Um, I know that in pre-K, where my niece and nephew go, in that school, they teach you how to breathe in chaos, how to stop, to say, I hold on, I need a second. They do this little kind of yoga move where they put their hands up, take a deep breath and put it down. And then they say, okay, but they're in the situation
Right.
at hand.
Hey, Special Forces learns the same thing.
Oh, really?
They're in it.
Interesting.
There's a whole breathing technique.
Oh,
There's all
wow. I did not
that.
know that.
That's what I'm saying. But guess what? They're also being shot at. Okay. So they're not in a quiet room. They're learning how to do that when
Sure.
the crap is hitting the fan.
Well, when mom and dad are screaming and yelling at you and your sister's hitting you with something or she's yelling at you or saying, "You did this to me. How dare you?" Da, da, da. And she's 3 or 4 and you're 6. I've watched my nephew stop and do the breathing exercise. I mean, he's being shot at too.
Clenching that fist. I'm just getting up my energy and I'm going to pop you. No, it's just, but it is
So
that.
that's
It's that.
my 2 cents.
It's yeah. And but see, it matters. Okay. So it's application. That's what matters. So we can swing that back to business. Okay. When your team is in the fight, they got to stay in the fight,
You have to
right?
stay in the
They
fight,
have to function in the fight. They have to rise above. They have to do that,
but they have to
and
feel
that can be one
empowered.
of the techniques, but you got to be in the fight. You don't get to remove yourself. You don't get to step away from the Olympic gold competition because you have mental health and you let
Hmm.
your whole team down. You don't get to step away from that because it's all about you. You should have learned how to work through that. Okay. Because now you just give everyone a hall pass.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let everyone be a quitter. I'm not a fan of quitters. Okay. There's a saying, the only thing worse than losing is quitting. Okay. But quitting's disgraceful. Okay. We don't quit.
We don't quit.
Okay. And I'm
Yeah.
not a nut, I'm not a complete nut job, but there's failure and there's quitting. This is
That's right.
you need to understand that distinction.
Oh, yeah.
Failure is like, guess what? Gonna happen.
Yeah.
But it's, can you win, lose, and then come back and play the next day?
Well,
Can you
that's
do that?
being an entrepreneur, isn't it?
That's it. That's
Yeah.
it. It's like daily.
When I
It's
was
daily.
when I was 15, my sister dragged me along to an outward bound. Do you know what that is?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Okay. This one
Yeah.
was in Costa Rica in
Oh,
the
that's fun.
early 2000s. Well, we could have
Wait,
failed.
did you go to do the challenge, or were you a troubled child that your parents said, you know where you're going? You're going outward bound.
Well,
You're
you know,
going
it's
in the
so
woods.
funny.
You're going
We were not troubled or challenged children. We just wanted to go on a surf trip. Because my sister and I had our own business when we were very young. We did temporary
right.
tattoos at a bunch of fairs around Michigan, and we made a lot of cash. We
Yeah.
took that cash and we wanted to go surfing in Costa Rica. And the best way to do that my sister found, being 17 or 18, was an outward bound
Okay.
surf trip. Okay, so you end up in San Jose, van picks you up, and you are roughing it, which we did not know. And you're with what, 6 or maybe 5 or 6 other troubled adults and kids.
Right.
Right? They were great. They were great. But we weren't troubled. But we got handed a tent that had a leak, and we were in the mud, and there were no bathrooms, and our tent leaked every night. There was very little food. Thank God we brought power bars. Remember those power bars? Do they still make those?
Dude.
So we fed ourselves on power bars, and we got sick, and we were trampling through the mud, and we got blisters, and we got our feet taped, and we didn't we didn't quit, and we didn't fail, and we just trudged through.
And
It was
that's why
amazing.
you were
And we
able to
went back
become
the next summer.
yeah, and that's why you were able to become a captain of a
Yeah.
catamaran. See that, and then you could do that, and then you
Hmm.
do the next hard thing, and then
Yeah.
you do the real hard thing. You start a business, and you run a business, and you grow that and do everything else. So it's I want this just as a real big takeaway for everybody listening, that like you need to put yourself into these situations. You have a business, I get it. You're running into, you got speed bumps, road bumps, people trying to hijack stuff, whatever it is. You got all that in business. You have to go outside of your business and go challenge yourself. I have one mentor, and it's every 6 weeks, it's a new thing.
Mm.
Okay, well, we're gonna work up to a 35-mile hike at night. Okay,
Cool. That's
we
a
get
good
this
one.
team, and he takes them, and you guys do it. We're gonna do a 35-mile hike. We're gonna do that at night. With the night is the best part. You just take out the light, do it in the darkness. It's a whole new game. It's so awesome. So it's that kind of stuff. But your proverbial run a marathon thing. Run, but you're gonna train and be ready in 6 weeks. You're going to run a marathon in 6 weeks. Like you might not have run in 40 years, but you're going to run a marathon and you're going to finish. That's what you're going to do,
With
right?
hip surgery.
Whatever, whatever. It's a badge of honor. Just kidding. I just came off 2 major injuries that were like, ooh, terrible. But that's because I train hard. I still push myself. I still want to put myself in situations. I have a thing about staying dangerous. That's me. I'm a dangerous gentleman. I want to be that. So I got to maintain that kind of stuff. So there's a level to that. But we need to go outside our business, outside our own comfort, and go apply these things, regardless of your age, and do it. And
Hmm.
just do it. I think I was 12 or 13, maybe at the most. And we had the scouting trip, and it was on these like peninsulas and this huge lake. Well, we did a wilderness survival. My leaders dropped us off on this peninsula for 3 days. We had the fishing line and the knife and a couple hooks, and like, see ya. And off they canoed away, gone. Didn't see him for 3 days. We caught one like 12-inch bass in 3 days. There was four of us. Oh, it was delicious. I got to tell you. I mean, it was more like sushi because we weren't going to take a long time to cook it because we were getting really hungry by day 3. Okay. But we built ours, did all that stuff. I mean, today, the parents would go to jail for that. Okay. They go, it's like, we want to do that. Like, we were all about that. You know what I mean? So we do that kind of stuff. But yeah, so it's always been kind of a thing. Of course, I go in the Marine Corps and do all that stuff too, and everything else, and get out and box and do everything else. But I just want people to like find your discomfort.
Hmm.
Don't do something you can do. Do something you haven't done. Okay, it's going to make your business better.
It will make your business better. And also, it will teach you resilience and how to problem solve quickly on the fly without honestly stressing out and giving up or throwing money at the problem and it really, I do believe I have resilience and I'm not afraid.
Right. Yeah, and that's what matters. You
Hmm.
can't be a business owner. You can't be an entrepreneur and not have that. It's
Hmm.
grit. You got to have it. When you look at, we
You
may have
do.
mentioned this in the other shows, but Angela Duckworth wrote Grit, right? She's a researcher and went to West Point and interviewed all these West Pointers. Okay, so these are pretty elite guys, right? They're great grades. They got their athletes, and she found it wasn't the best athletes. It wasn't the smartest kids. It was the ones with the highest level of grit, the ones who don't quit, the ones that persevere. Then she looked at all the greats in history. Same thing. It was also like grit is the number one thing. It's not intelligence. It's not schooling. It's not athletic prowess. It is grit,
Hmm.
which is comes to my saying, not mine, but one I use. It's not the size of the dog in the fight; it's the size of the fight in the dog. Right?
Yeah, right. Nice. I
That's
like
what
that.
it is. Like if you and I, people say I'll kill you, but you might gouge my eyes out before I even get a chance to blink. Okay, because you got some fight. Okay, then I'm going to have to be swinging blind because I don't have any eyes. Okay, so but it could happen. Just saying. So I always teach my kids, you don't mess with anybody because you don't know what they know.
Right.
No one knows what I
No,
know.
no.
So
Right.
just leave me alone. I said, but if someone does start it, I am a big finisher. I really like to finish things. So I will
Mhm.
finish you because that's what you're asking for. But yeah,
Yeah.
no, it's kind of wild. But I think just this whole conversation, Lindy's been great. And it really is the suffering component, the diligence, the perseverance, that challenging yourself, understanding also in your business the need to pivot, to be alert of economies, of how your team is performing. We talked about drift, entropy, all that. Really cool. We really got to share kind of both sides of the fence here. Is really cool. But we need to start to think about these things and see where they fit. See where they fit in our business, maybe in our personal lives. Where is all this stuff? Where is it? How do we live in that realm? Because that's how you're going to have continuous improvement. Wouldn't you agree?
Absolutely. You'll see when you get into trouble in life, in your business, you'll know what you need to do immediately. You'll just know because you have that survival technique, you have that momentum, you have the grit.
Yeah. I think too many people are paralyzed by fear, and fear is just unknown. It's false evidence appearing real, right? It's like, you don't, fear is a weird thing and we all get it at some point, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
But it's really what you do in that moment. Having fear is not the problem. It's how you react to it. That can be a problem, right? It can keep you from achieving great things. It can even get you killed. Okay. you know, someone's, well, we don't need to run through scenarios, but just saying, like there's a lot of
Keep
aspects
it
of our,
light, Richard. Keep it light.
yeah, we're going down the dark holes now, but we're not going to do that. Good. But stories for another day. Stories for another day. But no, really, it's important that people understand this. You've done a lot in your business. You're redirecting where you're going now. From an industry standpoint, who you're serving. That's a really important distinction. We'll wrap it up with this because I think too many people think they start with this thing and they only do this thing. And I get the main thing's the main thing, but customers come and go, trends come and go.
That's right.
Services are wanted and not wanted anymore. It's a thing. It rolls with economies and everything else, and you have to be that agile to see it. Hopefully early, like you're seeing this, you caught it by looking at books, and that started a little snowball, right? You started seeing that. Well, what else? If I'm missing this, what else am I missing? Now I got to go look. Now I got to start lifting up lids. You know what I mean? See what's going on underneath those pots.
Yeah.
We got to figure out what's cooking here. So it's that, but these are kind of common sense tools that I just don't think are that common. For
Yeah,
people.
of
They get
course.
they get lost in what they're doing, which
Well,
is you
nobody,
think that'd be good, but
a lot of
sometimes
us don't like to look at our numbers, right? But man,
yes.
once you get it and you get control, you get empowerment. When you get empowerment, you want to make change.
Well, it
That's
makes you
why you
start.
need the grit.
Yeah, well, it starts making you measure things. You can't fix what you don't measure. You got to track stuff. You got to measure it. And if you're not doing that, you're winging it. You're
Yeah,
just
numbers
winging
can
it.
be false.
Yep, they can, and they can lie.
Yep.
They can lie. And boy, that's another one. I'm not going to go down there because be
Episode
another
4.
30 minutes, but it'll be awesome. So, Lindy, this has been fantastic. So let's give them the up in the day spiel, how to get in touch with, where to go, all that great stuff, what you got going on, and then we'll wrap it up.
Sounds great. Thanks for the opportunity. You can find us at upinaday.co.co. You can find me on LinkedIn. Please connect with me, it's Lindy-Nowak after LinkedIn. You can find Up in a Day there too. And you can check out our ebooks and guides and freebie downloads on our site slash ebooks. I would love to help anybody out, and you can always find me there, book a consult, and let's have a chat.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, Lindy, first three-peat, you got that. You'll always have that. You'll always have that. I'll send you a certificate to
I
put on the
and my
wall.
badge. I
Okay,
need my
I'll get you a
pin.
little pin. I'll get you a
Thank
pin.
you.
I'll give you an honorary. I have to, you'll have to be honorary because you have earned it. So, but I'll give it to you. I will. I'm going to get you a lapel pin. You're going to have it, and it'll be the talk of the town. Okay, because what the heck is that? Have you lost your mind? That's what they're going to say. She's done. She's out. Okay, no, but it's been fantastic. I appreciate it so much. And for everybody else, we'll see you on the next STS podcast. Thanks for joining me on the Sharpen the Spear podcast. If you're a manufacturing executive and you're serious about unlocking hidden profit, improving frontline leadership, and taking control of your floor, go to grit2lead.com right now. Run the free Sharpened Impact Simulator and discover your biggest opportunities are hiding. Don't leave millions on the table. Sharpen your spear, lead from the front, and win the floor. Until next time, stay sharp.